Budgets get cut, people get fired. It happens every economic cycle. But some marketers never worry, not because they're lucky, but because they made themselves impossible to replace. Here are 6 decisions that separate unfireable marketers from replaceable ones. My name is MARINA VASKINA. I have 20 years in marketing, working for Samsung, Johnson & Johnson, AB InBev. I have 2 EFFIE Awards. Now I teach SMMs to think like strategic marketers. These are the decisions that kept me employed, promoted, and eventually in demand enough to leave and build my own thing. Let's get into it. Decision number 1. Fall in love with the why, not the what. Most marketers focus on outputs. Posts created, campaigns launched, tasks completed. That's the what, and it's commoditized. Anyone can learn to schedule posts or write captions. The unfireable marketers, they're obsessed with the why. Why does this message convert? Why did that campaign fail? Why do people buy this product but not that one? That obsession is worth more than any certification. I chose marketing the moment I understood it was applied psychology, not creative work, although it's a lot, not content, psychology that drives revenue. And 20 years later, that's still what I sell. Not my time, not my deliverables, my understanding of why people buy. Here is the test. If a client asks you to explain why your last campaign worked, not what you did, but why it moved the needle, could you answer in 1 sentence? If not, you're selling tasks, and tasks are easy to cut. Decision number 2. Chase skills, not comfort. I left Samsung after 6 years. It was a great job. Biggest advertising budgets I'd ever touched. TV campaigns, product launches, the whole thing. Very comfortable, prestigious, and limiting. I asked myself, what am I not learning here? And the answer was brand building. Samsung was about product marketing. It was features, launches, retail, but I didn't know how to build perception from scratch, how to create a brand, not just promote one. So I moved to a CPG company, AB InBev, and then to Johnson & Johnson, and each move filled a gap in my skill set. Here is my principle. Comfort is where careers go to die. If you've been doing the same type of work for 2 years and it feels easy, you are not growing. You are becoming obsolete. The market doesn't pay for comfort. It pays for competence. And competence only grows when you are uncomfortable. What skill are you avoiding right now? That's probably the one that would double your rate. Decision number 3. Run toward hard projects. At Johnson & Johnson, I led a B2B project that pushed me to my limit. 5,000 doctors, thousands of points of sale. We were developing a campaign to convince medical professionals to change how they worked with contact lenses. These analytical models, these stakeholder meetings, all this pressure, but that project earned me Best Employee of the Year. Here's what nobody will tell you. Hard projects are where you become expensive. Easy projects, just repetition. You're not learning anything. You're just maintaining. The Samsung La Fleur campaign, the dual SIM phone launch, the beauty contact lens launch in healthcare. Every project that made my career was never easy. This applies directly to SMM. The client with the complicated product, the one in the boring industry, the project that requires actual strategy, not just content, that's the one that builds your portfolio. That's the one that gets you referrals. Easy clients are easy to replace you on. Difficult clients, remember who solved their problem. Decision number 4. Invest in your skills like your income depends on it, because it does. I have 3 degrees: economics, MBA in strategic marketing, master's in media management from the US. Of course, nobody cares about the diplomas, but the skills behind them, that's my entire value. Here is what I've learned. You cannot learn a profession once and coast. What worked 5 years ago is outdated now. The marketers who stay relevant are the ones who never stop being students. I've always sought knowledge from people more experienced than me, watched how they did it, what they did, asked questions, paid attention. Your skills are your only real currency. Credentials impress HR departments. Competence impresses clients who pay. If you stopped learning something new this month, you're falling behind someone who didn't. To charge more, you must become more. There is no shortcut. Decision number 5. Bet on yourself before anyone else will. 10 years ago, I moved to the United States. That meant leaving every credential, every relationship, every award behind. In a new country, nobody knew me. Nobody cared what I had done. I had to rebuild from zero. Here is why that decision made sense. My skills were the one thing I could take with me. Not my title, not my company's name, not my network. My ability to think strategically and drive results. That's what I mean by betting on yourself. When you master your craft, really master it, you become location independent, economy independent, employer independent. Most people cling to job security, but job security is an illusion. Companies restructure, budgets shift, priorities change. The only real security is being so good that someone will always pay you. That's the goal, not to find a safe job, to become someone who doesn't need one. Decision number 6, over-deliver until it's your reputation. I never worked 9 to 5 and done. Not because anyone forced me, but because average effort produces average result, and average is forgettable. If something needed one more revision, I stayed. If a campaign could be 10% better, I figured out how. Here is the compounding effect. Over-delivering builds reputation. Reputation builds trust. Trust builds referrals. And referrals build income you don't have to chase. The marketers who complain about competing on price, they're competing on price because they haven't built a reputation worth paying more for. Of course, this is not about working yourself to death. It's about caring enough to do the work properly, to go slightly beyond what was asked, consistently. Over time, that becomes your brand, and a strong personal brand is the ultimate unfireable insurance. So here are my 6 decisions. Obsess over the why, not the what. Chase skills, not comfort. Run toward hard projects. Invest in learning constantly. Bet on yourself before anyone else will. Over-deliver until it's your reputation. None of this is revolutionary, but most marketers don't do it. They stay comfortable. They avoid hard clients. They stop learning after year 2. They do exactly what asked and nothing more. And then they wonder why they're replaceable. Yes, the market is brutal, but it's also fair. It pays for value. Become more valuable and the fear of being cut disappears. If you want to learn how to think strategically, not just tactically, not just templates, I run a program called the Strategic SMM. Link is in the description. If you're ready, I'll see you inside. If not, take what you learned today and apply it. I'll see you in the next one.